My husband never comes home, but he gives me a $100,000 monthly allowance. No kids to raise, no in-laws to serve. My life couldn't be any more perfect. I had just made plans with my best friend to hit the club and hang out with some hot male models. I was about to walk out the door when my housekeeper rushed over. "Bad news, madam. Mr. Vance is bringing his mistress home." I beamed with joy. "Clean up the guest room and make sure she gets 5-star service." The housekeeper was utterly shocked. "But madam, she's a homewrecker." I immediately corrected her, sternly fixing her negative attitude. "What do you mean, homewrecker? That is the new madam of the house. Housekeeper. Arthur Vance." In this day and age, a husband like Arthur Vance who only gives you money and never comes home is a rare treasure. As long as that $100,000 monthly allowance hits my bank account on time, I don't have to miss him at all. Why would I? Are the energetic 20-something male models at the club not handsome enough? Or is their stamina lacking? They are absolutely exhilarating. Okay, Martha, I'm heading out. Make sure you take good care of his new lady. Martha froze. "Madam, where are you going?" "To clear the runway for them, obviously. I couldn't just stay home and be a third wheel." I grabbed my new Chanel bag and turned to leave, waving dismissively over my shoulder. It wasn't that I didn't want to play the good hostess. I was just worried about being an eyesore to his VIP guest. It was definitely not because my best friend had already booked 10 hot guys, and I was in a rush to ditch Arthur's incoming mistress. I sneaked a peek at the bewildered housekeeper and quickened my pace, practically skipping toward the luxury van waiting at the door. "Here I come, my sweet boys." The moment I pushed open the private room doors and saw the gorgeous guys waiting, my mood skyrocketed. My best friend, Serena, nudged a particularly handsome guy toward me, looking a bit confused. "Leah, didn't you say your husband was coming home today? You still dared to come out?" I absent-mindedly traced the abs of the guy sitting next to me. "Duh, why wouldn't I? He brought his little mistress home. It would be totally clueless of me to stick around and ruin their vibe." Oh wow, these abs feel amazing. Besides, my husband was nowhere near as fun as these boys. As the party bus rolled out, the sweet, clear voice of the guy next to me echoed in my ear. "You have such a refreshing outlook on life. Your wine has breathed perfectly. Care for a glass?" I happily scratched him under the chin like a puppy, took the red wine from his hand and downed it in one gulp. "You boys are so sweet. Not like older men who are just stubborn and cold all over." A few more glasses went down the hatch. I drank a bit too fast, and the cool breeze blowing in through the car window hit me hard. It left me dizzy and tipsy, resting my head on the guy's lap. Everything felt as blissful as floating on a cloud. I was completely immersed in the moment when my phone rang, violently dragging me back to reality. I pouted. What a buzzkill. But I answered it anyway. A familiar, deep male voice came through the speaker. "Leah Vance, where are you right now?" Because of the alcohol, my brain was foggy, and I hadn't checked the caller ID. I answered with arrogant confidence, completely failing to recognize the voice. "Who's asking?" "I'm busy having a great time." Dead silence on the other end. I was just about to curse out the psycho and hang up, when 3 words were squeezed through gritted teeth on the other end. "Your husband." Crap. It's Arthur. The word husband was like a bucket of ice water splashing over me. I sobered up instantly. I let out an awkward laugh. "Oh, honey, why are you still awake so late?" I glanced at the time and clicked my tongue. Was the mistress bad in bed, or was Arthur just lacking stamina? It was only 11 p.m., and they were already done? "Where did you go?" I was just about to make up a random excuse when I heard a female voice in the background on his end. It was soft, delicate, and practically dripping with neediness. "Mr. Vance, can we start now?" "All right, I'll be right there." Arthur's microphone sounded like it was being covered. The voices were muffled, like there was some grand secret.
He didn't want me to hear.
But I had zero interest in hearing it. I might be open-minded, but I wasn't open-minded enough to listen to my husband groan and moan with another woman. Oh, you haven't even started yet. Don't worry, honey, I'm staying at a hotel tonight. I won't interrupt you guys. Before he could reply, I hung up. Serena turned to look at me. What's wrong? Your husband calling to check up on you? I put my phone down, gave the male model's lean waist a squeeze, and replied casually, No, he just called to tell me not to come home and interrupt them. Ignore him. Let's keep partying. The next day, I deliberately waited until late afternoon to go home. I was terrified of getting back too early and ruining their morning after cuddles. The moment I walked through the door, the house felt freezing. I was about to call for Martha when I looked up. My husband, Arthur, was sitting on the sofa. His face was dark, and his eyes were cold enough to freeze a person solid. You finally decided to come back? I suddenly had a very bad feeling about this.
Crap.
The mistress must not have pleased him, and now he's taking it out on the original wife. Even though I was rolling my eyes internally, I had to keep up appearances. Flashing a standard 8-tooth smile, I walked over and sat down obediently beside him. What's wrong, honey? Arthur's hand rested on his leg, his fingers tapping a slow, rhythmic beat as he looked at me lazily. What, you were hoping I wouldn't be here? I immediately leaned into him, giggling as I hugged his arm and acted cute. Of course not. I wish you could come home and keep me company more often. It gets so lonely being in this big house all by myself. You can come home, but please don't come home without a warning. I cursed him out in my head while maintaining a bright, cheerful smile on my face. You must have worked so hard last night, honey. I'll have Martha make you a special restorative soup tonight to build your strength back up. I played the ultimate kiss-ass, massaging his shoulders and squeezing his arms, taking the opportunity to check for lipstick marks or hickeys under his collar. If there weren't any, fine. If there were, I'd just pretend I was blind. He paid me way too much allowance to complain. A person should always be content with what they have.
I
had to maintain my mindset as America's best wife. Go get ready. You're coming with me to the family estate for dinner tonight. I slapped my forehead. I had partied so hard last night that I completely forgot. Today was the day we were supposed to visit Grandma Vance at the family estate. Grandma treated me incredibly well. Back when Arthur was choosing a wife from a sea of candidates, she was the one who took one look at me and chose me. If it weren't for her, I'd still be an ordinary girl working a 9-to-5, miles away from this luxurious, worry-free life. Even though Arthur and I didn't have any real romantic feelings, I always treated Grandma Vance like my own flesh and blood. When I came out of the dressing room, I saw Arthur leaning against the doorframe. His long, slender fingers were idly playing with a small, white velvet box. He glanced up at me. Give me your hand. I had no idea what he was doing, but I obeyed. I definitely couldn't afford to anger my primary investor. Suddenly, I felt something cold slide onto my wrist. I looked down. A breathtakingly intricate, diamond-studded bracelet had just been fastened onto my arm. One look, and I knew this cost a fortune. A corporate partner gifted it.
Don't overthink it, he said.
Before I could even process it, he turned and walked out of the walk-in closet. I chased after him, throwing out compliments like they were free. Oh my gosh, honey, you're the best. I love you so much. Arthur didn't even look at me. Act normal. I rubbed the bracelet, pondering his true motive. Was this man feeling guilty about keeping a mistress on the side, so he bought me jewelry as compensation? If that was the case, he should go find a few more. I wouldn't mind an entire closet filled with priceless jewelry. Thinking of this, my smile grew even wider. Arthur turned his head impatiently. Seeing that I still hadn't gotten into the car, he rushed me. Are you coming or not? I quickly hopped in and sat next to him. The ride was silent, but at least the oppressive, icy aura from this morning had vanished. The estate wasn't far from our house. As soon as the car parked, I reached for the door handle. Before I could open it, Arthur grabbed my wrist. Tone it down tonight. Grandma is getting older. Her heart can't take your nonsense. He had a valid reason for the warning. Last time, I brought Grandma a steamy mafia romance novel. The butler ended up catching her hiding under her blankets at 2 a.m., trying to read it. She was farsighted, so she had her phone flashlight in one hand and the book held as far away as possible in the other, squinting her eyes and struggling to read the smut. Honey, why would you think so poorly of me? I'm always on my best behavior. I gave him a shy, exaggerated flutter of my eyelashes. Arthur turned his head away, acting like looking at me was physically painful. Let's hope so. I rolled my eyes. Yeah, sure, only your little mistress is allowed to act cute. I turned and sprinted toward the mansion. Grandma, I'm here. Oh, Leah, you finally made it. It's been so long since you came to chat with this old lady. I hugged Grandma's arm and whined affectionately. I'm here now, aren't I? Grandma couldn't wait. She dragged me toward the sofa. Hurry, finish the story. What happened after the billionaire fell in love with the mute girl? Arthur trailed behind us, looking exhausted, glaring at me periodically. Grandma, those books rot your brain. You should read less of them. Grandma was instantly unhappy. She turned and gave Arthur a deadpan stare. What? You expect me to go study for the SATs at my age? I hid behind Grandma, feeling entirely justified. These were my bedtime stories. I read them every night. How dare he insult my literature? Arthur looked like he was suffering from chronic constipation as he watched me stick my tongue out at him from behind Grandma's back. Knowing when to quit, I pulled out the new book I had prepared for my bag. Grandma, I brought you a new one today. It's called The Billionaire's Fierce Love. The very next second, Arthur physically hoisted me out of the room. Leah, Vance, if you show Grandma one more of those trashy books, I'm going to show you what a billionaire's fierce love actually feels like. He enunciated the word fierce with a heavy, threatening
Grit.
Grandma's worried voice drifted out from the living room.
Leah?
Arthur isn't bullying you, is he? Arthur looked back, then turned to me with gritted teeth. If you say the wrong thing, your allowance gets cut in half. I instantly surrendered.
Who could argue with that?
He had a direct grip on my financial lifeline. I cleared my throat and called back into the room with a bright smile. Of course not, Grandma. My husband treats me the absolute best. Arthur set me down, shot me one last warning glare, and turned back toward the dining room. During dinner, Grandma kept glancing back and forth between Arthur and me. Grandma, if you keep staring at me like that, I'm going to be too embarrassed to eat. What is it? Grandma set down her silverware, sighed deeply, and finally spoke. I was just thinking about Mrs. Sterling's granddaughter. Next door. She is just the cutest little thing. She always calls me Grandma Vance with that sweet little voice, and she's so soft to hold. Arthur, and I instantly realized what was happening.
The
old lady wanted great-grandkids. I tugged at Arthur's sleeve, silently asking him what to do. He set down his fork and grabbed my hand. Leah is still young. Having kids this early isn't good for her health. Give it a few years, and Leah said she'll give you twins to keep you company. I stared at him in horror, mouthing the words. When did I ever say I was having twins? Arthur glared at me sideways. His grip on my hand tightened, squeezing until it hurt. That's what you get for not coming home last night. I fought to control my pain-contorted face and yanked my hand back.
I thought we were past that.
I gave him and his mistress the house to themselves, and he was punishing me for it? This man was incredibly petty. Grandma beamed, her smile stretching from ear to ear. Good, good, good. Grandma will make sure to live a few extra years just to wait for Leah's twins. On the drive back, I gave Arthur the silent treatment. As soon as we reached our driveway, I went to open the door, only to find the child locks engaged. I spun around and glared at Arthur. "Unlock the door." Arthur stared back calmly, his dark, bottomless eyes revealing absolutely nothing. "What are you so angry about?" I was fuming, and the truth slipped right out. "You told Grandma I was going to have twins. We might not even survive to see next year without getting a divorce. And you're promising her kids? If you want twins so badly, go ask your mistress to have them for you."
Leah.
Arthur suppressed his rage, pinning me back against the leather seat. The air pressure in the car instantly dropped to freezing.
I
Cowardly shrank back, too afraid to make a sound. "Unless I say the word divorce, don't even dream of running away for the rest of your life."
Click.
The doors unlocked. Arthur stepped out and slammed the door behind him. I bit my lip hard, forcing back the tears stinging my eyes. That bastard actually dared to yell at me. I got out and stormed into the house. I slammed my bedroom door shut, not even sparing him a
glance.
Lying in bed that night, I remembered his threat about cutting my allowance. I tossed and turned, unable to sleep, until I suddenly sat up, in bed like a zombie. He's a psycho. Suddenly, a notification chimed on my phone. Chase Bank, $100,000 deposited. Okay, fine. I was the psycho. Seeing that beautiful string of zeros in my balance, I lay back down in complete peace. Arthur sent a text. "I was too harsh today. I'm leaving on a business trip tomorrow. 1 week." My bad mood was instantly cured. Shopping in the morning, booking models at the club at night. Life was bliss. But as it turns out, karma comes for the arrogant. Because I partied way too hard that week, I caught a nasty fever. "Leah, come out to play. They just brought in a fresh batch of gorgeous guys." I croaked into the phone, sounding exactly like a dying
duck.
"I'm out. I'm currently boiling alive. Want me to send a hot guy over to take care of you?" You could tell Serena truly understood me. But she didn't understand my husband. "Don't. I'm just sick. I don't have a death wish yet. I might be wild, but I didn't have the guts to bring a random man into Arthur's house. I didn't even know when Serena hung up. I drifted in and out of a hazy, feverish sleep for hours, until I felt a hand touch my forehead. "Why are you burning up?" I assumed it was the hot guy Serena insisted on sending over, so I didn't even open my eyes. I was afraid that if he was too handsome, I wouldn't have the heart to kick him out. "Handsome, I know you're hot, but today really isn't your lucky payday. If you don't leave right now, I won't be the only one dying in this house. Wait till I'm better, and I'll come find you. Be a good boy." I murmured, weakly trying to push his hand away. "Leah Vance, are you keeping men behind my back?" That chilling, icy voice was way too familiar. It scared me so much I shot straight up in bed. "Husband." My face was flushed as red as a tomato from the fever. He sighed, asking coldly, "Did you take your medicine?" I nodded obediently. I was so terrified my fever practically broke on the spot. "Rest for now. When you're better, you have a lot of explaining to do."
Great.
My death sentence was just reduced to probation. When I opened my eyes the next morning, I saw Arthur walking out of my en-suite bathroom. Water dripped down his broad chest, tracing the lines of his perfect 8-pack abs. I had to admit, Arthur's physique put the club models to
shame.
Paired with that ridiculously handsome face, he was a walking fantasy. "Wipe your nosebleed." I frantically wiped my nose, only to find nothing there. It took me a full second to realize he was messing with me. "Honey, why are you in here?" I twisted my fingers together, asking guiltily. "Don't panic. Play dumb. Maybe he forgot about last night." He walked straight over, planted his hands on either side of my pillow, and caged me against the bed. He was so close I could smell the clean scent of his body wash. His hair wasn't fully dry. A cold drop of water fell onto my collarbone, sending a shiver through me. He gently wiped the drop away with his thumb. This damn man. Why is he making my mind go to the Got her first thing in the morning? What, didn't you scream yesterday about wanting to go out and find handsome guys once you recovered? I just wanted to see what kind of men my sweet wife prefers. I chewed on his words. Was it just me, or did he sound jealous? Was it my imagination? I threw my arms around his neck and put on the performance of a lifetime, though this time it was laced with a little bit of genuine honesty. Those guys outside aren't half as handsome as my husband. When I have a gorgeous, fit, rich husband waiting at home, only an idiot would go out looking for someone else, right? I let out an awkward chuckle. I was ruthless. I even insulted myself to survive. That better be the case. With that, he stood up and turned his back to me to put on his shirt. Behind his back, I silently flipped him the bird. Men are such hypocrites. They expect their wives to be perfectly faithful at home, while they wave their colorful flags with mistresses on the outside. Get up and get ready. You're coming with me to a gala tonight.
Huh?
Can I skip it? Arthur rarely attended galas, but whenever he did, he dragged me along. His endless stream of persistent female admirers was exhausting to deal with. I highly suspected he only brought me along as revenge for spending all his money on designer bags.
Sure.
No allowance next month. My tragic expression vanished instantly. I smiled brighter than a sunflower and hopped out of bed. Honey, do you think I should wear the pink dress or the white one today? Bowing for the sake of cash is never shameful. The pink one. You got it, boss. As soon as we stepped into the gala hall, I could feel someone staring daggers at me. Whenever I get that feeling, trouble is guaranteed to follow. Just as I was trying to figure out how to avoid said trouble, someone approached Arthur. Mr. Vance, it's been a while. He was already talking business the moment we walked
In.
Arthur was just too much of a workaholic. I hated these events. I gave Arthur a look and slipped away. As I left, he warned me, "Don't wander too far. We're leaving soon." I didn't have much of an appetite for my fever, but walking around actually made me a little hungry. Just as I picked up a slice of cake, trouble found me. "You're already that chubby, and you're still eating?" It was Fiona Sterling, one of Arthur's eternal, desperate fangirls. "I seriously don't know what Arthur sees in you. You are completely unworthy of him." I absolutely despise people who lack brain cells, but have an abundance of audacity. I rolled my eyes dramatically. "Yeah, you're right, I'm unworthy. Not like you. You're so worthy you could probably pair up with a stray dog." Leah Vance. I looked at her innocently. "Why is the dog barking? Do you have zero class?" "My class is variable. It depends entirely on who I'm talking to." "You." Fiona was a sheltered socialite. There was no way she could win a verbal sparring match against a natural talent
Like me.
In a fit of rage, she grabbed a glass of red wine, fully intending to throw it in my face. Thankfully, my reflexes were sharp. I ducked just in time. The entire glass of wine splashed onto the person standing directly behind me. The girl screamed in horror.
Ah.
"What the hell?" The scream drew a lot of attention. I covered my mouth and looked at Fiona with wide, innocent eyes. "Fiona, if you wanted to throw wine at me, you should have just done it. Why did you involve an innocent bystander?" I didn't mean to. I was aiming for dash. The girl who got splashed was wearing a stunning, form-fitting white gown. The red wine stain was glaringly obvious. This dress was an anniversary gift for my husband. Now it's ruined. You better give me a damn good explanation for this. Hearing the commotion, Arthur walked over. "Arthur, this woman insulted me. You have to defend me." Fiona pinched her voice to sound whiny and pathetic, reaching out to grab Arthur's arm. I beat her to it. I latched onto his arm and intertwined our fingers. "Honey, if she wanted to play the damsel in distress, I could play it better." "What happened?" Arthur looked down at me. I wiped an invisible tear from the corner of my eye and sniffled. "She called me fat. And she said I wasn't worthy of you." Arthur turned to Fiona, his brow furrowing deeply. "Miss Sterling, when it comes to my wife, the only person Unworthy of her is me.
Even I don't dare speak to her that way.
What gives you the right to judge her? Hearing Arthur say that, my heart skipped a beat. Fiona panicked.
No, wait.
She said She couldn't exactly announce to a crowd of socialites that. I told her she belonged with a dog. Miss Sterling, I suggest you remember your place. I would hate for your behavior to negatively impact the partnership between our families. Arthur clearly didn't want to make a scene at someone else's event. Since this has nothing to do with us, we'll be leaving. Fiona refused to give up. She lunged forward and grabbed the edge of Arthur's suit jacket. Arthur, are you really going to sacrifice our corporate alliance over this woman? Arthur stopped in his tracks, pulling a stunned me firmly against his chest. She is my wife. Disrespecting her is disrespecting me. Arthur gave a brief nod to the girl in the ruined white dress and dragged me toward the exit. I stumbled along beside him. Seeing the grave, serious look in his eyes, my brain short-circuited. He didn't seem like the Arthur I knew. Fiona tried to chase after us, but the girl in the white dress blocked her path. You aren't going anywhere until you pay for this dress. Arthur pulled me out of the gala hall. The wind had picked up outside, and it was freezing. I shivered, wrapping my arms around myself in my thin evening gown. Arthur glanced at me, shrugged off his suit jacket, and draped it over my shoulders. Well, aren't you a perfect gentleman? My teeth were chattering, but I didn't forget to butter him up. Arthur gritted his teeth. Vance, are you literally allergic to romance? Let's not get bogged down in details. Hold my phone for a second so I can put my arms through the sleeves. It's drafty just draping it. Arthur gave me an exasperated look and took my phone. Once I had the jacket on and turned to get my phone back, my heart dropped. He was staring intently at my lock screen. Even though my phone was locked, the message previews still showed up on the screen. I saw Serena's familiar profile picture in the notification banner and panicked. Arthur slowly looked up at me. 10 male models? Young, handsome, with amazing abs. I practically tackled him to snatch the phone back, letting out a hollow, nervous laugh. Stupid brain, think of an excuse quick. If I told you it was a spam text, would you believe me? The very next second, Serena's call came through. Arthur stared at me icily. Put it on speaker. Sure, putting it on speaker right now. Serena, you idiot, you better leave me a way out. Hey Leah, get your ass over here. The guys tonight are absolutely gorgeous, and their abs are incredible. Watching Arthur's eyes grow colder by the second, I frantically hung up the phone. If I told you the club was just doing aggressive marketing, would you believe me? A vein pulsed visibly on Arthur's forehead. Leah Vance, do I look like a complete idiot to you? To be honest, I was terrified. I immediately went into damage control. Of course not. My husband is the smartest man in the world. Arthur suddenly let out a dark, unreadable laugh. It was the laugh of a man pushed to his absolute limit. He took a slow step toward me. Then you better give me a very good explanation of what a young, handsome, with amazing abs means. He backed me up step by step, just as I was racking my brain for a lie, trapped with nowhere left to retreat. The valet pulled a car up. I eagerly opened the car door, hugged his arm, and swayed it pleadingly. Honey, let's go home first. I'll explain everything at home. Okay. Home was safer. I was genuinely worried Arthur might snap and leave my body in a ditch. The second we walked through our front door, Arthur advanced on me. He forced his knee between my legs, pinning me flush against the heavy oak door. Leah, do I give you all that money just so you can go out and play with other men? I trailed my index finger in slow circles over his chest, desperately trying to defuse his rage. Honey, I would never. I just missed you too much. You're never home and I was going crazy with loneliness in this big house. Arthur didn't say a word. He just stared at me, waiting to see how far I'd take the lie. But I could feel his heavy, rapid breathing slowly begin to steady. His brows were still locked in a deep frown, so I kept piling
it on.
To cure my heartbreak of missing you, I had to go look for your shadow in those handsome guys. Serena felt bad for me, so she's been helping me look. Just as I was about to believe my own Oscar-worthy performance, Arthur suddenly spoke. And, did you find it? I put on my best innocent face, resting my hands flat against his chest, batting my big eyes at him.
Sigh.
I can only blame you for being too perfect, even. Now, I can't find a single guy who is as smart, as handsome, or has abs as amazing as yours. Honey, don't you think I'm just so pitiful? To make it more convincing, I squeezed my eyes hard to force out a few fake tears. With bullshit skills like this, I was truly a genius. Arthur stared at me with dark, intense eyes, his atoms apple bobbing. He gripped my waist with one hand, his thumb rubbing slowly against my side. His breathing grew heavy again, but the rhythm was entirely different from when he was angry. Right now, Arthur felt like a furnace that could incinerate me at any second. If that's the case, you don't need to look anymore. My finger tracing stopped. Huh. I looked at him in total confusion. My executive assistant is going on a business trip for a
month.
You'll fill in for him for a few days. Or you could just replace him permanently. I was living the dream of doing absolutely nothing.
Who
wants to be a corporate slave? I admit I panicked. He was trying to leash me to his side, so he could watch my every move. No, wait, honey, that's not what I meant. Arthur raised an eyebrow, a wicked smile spreading across his face. I'm giving you the opportunity to see me every single day. Shouldn't you be thanking me? Thank you? I'll thank you in hell. Before I could form a coherent excuse, Arthur cut me off. It's settled. You're coming to the office with me tomorrow. My vision went completely black. That night, I stayed applauding. Since I had no leverage, I had to make him fire me willingly. Step 1. Dress like an absolute slob so he gets too embarrassed to be seen with me. To execute my master plan, I went to Martha and borrowed some of her oldest, frumpiest clothes. To ensure total success, I didn't wear a single drop of makeup. I stood in front of the mirror, admiring my tragic new look, completely satisfied. There was no way Arthur wouldn't be disgusted by me.
Today,
I'd be out of a job by noon. But strangely, Arthur didn't say a word about my outfit. He actually gathered the entire secretarial pool and formally introduced me. This is Vance. She will be temporarily taking Victor's place. Kelly, you train her. And with that, he dumped me onto an older secretary and left. OMG, Leah. How did you do your no makeup look? It looks so natural. Your skin is glowing. As soon as Arthur left, a young secretary rushed over to
ask.
I laughed awkwardly. I'm literally not wearing makeup. Have you had work done?
No.
She immediately turned to the rest of the group. See, I told you. She didn't use makeup and she hasn't had work done. She's a natural beauty and you guys didn't. Believe me. The group swarmed me, chattering endlessly, asking for my skincare routine. I stood in the center, utterly bewildered. Is this the correct reaction? Aren't they supposed to think I look like a peasant? Kelly saw me looking lost and stepped in to rescue me. That's Brenda. She's just very excitable. Don't mind her. I nodded. Kelly clapped her hands. All right, ladies. She just got here.
Give her some space.
Brenda seemed to realize she had come on too strong. Sorry. We just think you're stunning, so we were wondering if you had an amazing dermatologist. Am I really that pretty? I asked weakly.
Yes.
Prettier than most celebrities, seriously. They looked at me with such genuine sincerity, it actually made me blush. No wonder Arthur didn't say anything. And your outfit is so avant-garde. It's giving vintage thrift.
Chic.
Can you drop the link? I could only mentally commend Martha for being ahead of the fashion curve. I let out a dry laugh. I just bought it at a flea market. No. Link. Since Plan A failed, it was time for Plan B. Rebellion. Whatever Arthur hated to drink, I would make. Whatever he told me not to do, I would do. Pure insubordination. I quietly asked Brenda, "What does Mr. Vance absolutely hate drinking?" "He hates black coffee with no sugar." The last assistant gave him a cup once, and Mr. Vance chewed him out and made him remake it.
Perfect.
I marched into his office, carrying a mug of black coffee, as bitter as humanly possible. "Mr. Vance, you've been working so hard.
Take a break and
Have some coffee." Arthur glanced at me, then looked at the pitch-black, steaming sludge in the mug, and then he actually drank it. Wait, why wasn't he mad? I helpfully pointed out, "Mr. Vance, it's black coffee.
no.
Sugar." "I know. Then why did you drink it?" "Because no matter how bitter this coffee is, it's not half as fake and bitter as your attitude right now."
Ouch.
That was a critical hit. "Leah Vance, don't think I don't know what kind of games you're playing. Put away the petty tricks. It won't work." I walked out of his office with my head hung low, running straight into Brenda. "Leah, what's wrong? Did Mr. Vance yell at you?" "It's fine, no matter how much he yells, he won't fire you."
Ha.
"I wish he'd fire me." Brenda looked confused. "Huh." I mentally comforted myself. Whatever. I was here, might as well accept it. It was only for a month anyway. "You can
Do this, Leah."
After 2 days on the job, I finally understood the pure agony of corporate America. Waking up early was torture, and the workload never ended. Plus, I was constantly getting called into the boss's office for constructive criticism. The famous actress, Lily Crawford? Yeah, you didn't know? I curiously peeked toward Arthur's office.
He happened to
Be looking right at me. We locked eyes awkwardly. Then he hit a button and the glass walls frosted over. Anyone else would have quit, but corporate slaves adapt to survive. I was dragged to work by Arthur during the day and dragged home by him at night. I had zero time to play with the club boys. Just as I was staring at Arthur's office door, plotting a new scheme, I saw a woman wearing a mask slip into his office. Just by her silhouette, I could tell she was drop-dead gorgeous. The next second, Brenda slid her chair over to gossip. "Leah, do you know the tea between Mr. Vance and Lily Crawford? The famous actress, Lily Crawford? Yeah, you didn't know?" I curiously peeked toward Arthur's office. He happened to be looking right at me. We locked eyes awkwardly. Then he hit a button, and the glass walls frosted over, blocking my view. I knew who Lily Crawford was. She became a massive star overnight. Rumors said she had a mysterious billionaire sugar daddy funding her rise. I just never expected that billionaire to be Arthur. Before you got here, she came to see Mr. Vance all the
time.
"Even more than Fiona Sterling," Brenda whispered, giving me a knowing look. I was in shock. "Damn, Arthur. You play the game way harder than I do." Brenda actually looked a bit regretful. "Mr. Vance is so handsome and brilliant, but his personal life is yikes." I nodded in deep, empathetic agreement. "I'm telling you, guys like Mr. Vance look all professional and put together, but they hide their true colors really well." Suddenly, Brenda started coughing violently, her eyes darting wildly. I completely missed her warning. I even grabbed her hand, speaking from the heart.
You are so right.
The ones who look the most honest are the biggest players. Arthur Vance is exactly that type of trash. What type of trash am I? I froze. I slowly, mechanically turned my head to see Arthur standing right behind me, his face thunderous. I scratched my head awkwardly and plastered on an obsequious smile. "Ha ha, our Mr. Vance is exactly the type of brilliant, majestic, visionary leader." Someone opened a trapdoor and let me fall through. I was caught talking trash by the boss himself. I tried to slide out of the danger zone, but Arthur grabbed me by the back of the collar. "You better hope you meant that. You're coming to a business dinner with me." "Yes, Mr. Vance." "Could you let go of my collar first? If he pulled any harder, I was going to choke." "Whatever. Life is just a series of downward spirals anyway." At the dinner table, Mr. Dawson stood up and offered me A glass of red wine. I pride myself on being a good judge of character, and one look at Mr. Dawson told me he was a creep. I was just about to take the glass and humor him when Arthur intercepted it. There's no need. She's just an assistant. With that, Arthur downed the entire glass in one go. Ha ha ha. Mr. Vance is a man of action. I love doing business with men like you. But what I didn't expect was this. Arthur was an extreme lightweight. One glass and he was
Out.
Mr. Dawson looked bewildered. I was bewildered too. You tried to be my knight in shining armor and you tap out. After one glass? Are you kidding me? I looked at a woozy Arthur in pure disgust. If you want something done right, do it yourself. Mr. Dawson, I am so sorry. Mr. Vance rarely
Drinks.
He only had that glass out of deep respect for you. He normally never touches the stuff. Since he's indisposed, please, let this humble assistant keep you company. Mr. Dawson, probably intimidated by Arthur's pathetic display of tolerance, asked tentatively, "Can you hold your liquor, Miss Leah?"
Ha.
I survived the VIP tables at the wildest clubs in the city, while you were still figuring out how to pop a cork. Arthur slumped on the table, weakly tugged at my sleeve. I waved him off. Quiet, lightweight. Let the master handle this. Less than an hour later, I had drank every single man at the table under it. I also managed to sweet-talk Mr. Dawson into signing the contract before he completely passed out. After having Mr. Dawson's assistant pour him into a cab, I hauled Arthur's heavy ass home. I threw him onto the bed and gave him a swift kick in the shin for good measure. If you can't drink, don't play the hero. You exhausted me. The next second, a massive force yanked me backward. That costs extra. I tried to push him away, but his grip was like iron. I was too tired to fight, so I just went limp, resting my cheek against his muscular chest. I didn't want this, but the man pays me $100,000 a month. His pecs were surprisingly comforting. Suddenly, Arthur's face flushed bright red, and he started crying like a baby. My wife doesn't want me anymore. My wife went out to find male models behind my back. Your poor wife dumped you? I was right in the middle of mocking him when it suddenly hit me.
Wait.
I'm the wife.
He was crying about me.
Arthur's wails got louder. My scalp prickled. I quickly started rubbing his chest, coaxing him softly.
Sure.
Why is a grown man crying? Your wife wants you. She still wants you, okay? Leah, don't leave me. I can go out and make so much money for you. Please don't leave me. He hugged me even tighter, practically crushing my ribs. I patted his broad shoulders like I was soothing a toddler. Okay. I won't leave you. I'm right here. They say a man's tears are a woman's aphrodisiac, and there really was some truth to it. Crying Arthur looked like a sad, abandoned puppy. It made me want to tease him. It took forever to finally coax him to sleep. I looked down at his sleeping face. I genuinely suspected he had bribed God during his creation. He was so insanely handsome. I couldn't even imagine how many women had thrown themselves at him. Lee, I thought I heard wrong. I leaned in closer to his lips. He was murmuring Lily Crawford? For some reason, my chest tightened. An acidic ache settled in my stomach. Unsurprisingly, Arthur woke up the next morning with no memory of the night before. Even though my heart stung, I comforted myself. It's better he doesn't remember. If he knew he was cuddling me while dreaming of Lily, he'd probably dock my allowance. Over the next few days, Lily visited Arthur's office. Even more frequently. Sometimes she left with red-rimmed eyes. Other times she left laughing, regardless of her mood. Every time she walked out of those doors, I felt sick. I sat at my desk, resting my forehead on my palm, looking completely lifeless. Did I fall in love with him? I felt lost and overwhelmed. Is it really love? If it is, what do I do? Should I go in there and demand the truth? It was my last day at the office because Victor, the real assistant, was coming back tomorrow. Lily came in to see Arthur again.
Ding.
A text from Fiona. Meet me at the cafe downstairs. I have something to tell you. She dropped a location pin. I didn't have much to do anyway, so I grabbed my bag and left. What do you want, loser? I asked Fiona irritably when I
Arrived.
Fiona opened her mouth, then settled into a mocking smirk. Did you know Arthur and Lily Crawford have a secret?
Child.
What? I saw them at the hospital the other day. Seeing my disbelief, she pulled out her phone. Here, look. It was a photo taken from behind. Arthur and Lily were walking side by side. Arthur was holding a little girl in his arms, and the girl was laughing brightly. The three of them looked like the picture-perfect happy
Family.
I froze, then shook my head to snap out of it. Why are you showing me this? I thought you were obsessed with Arthur. Hey, don't put words in my mouth.
That was the old me.
Don't chase after cheating scum anymore.
Besides, my
boyfriend and I are moving to Europe. That afternoon, I sat at my desk, staring into space for
hours.
My mind was looping Fiona's words on repeat. Is Arthur really that kind of man? Quitting time rolled around. Lily walked out of the office, gave me a polite look, and left. What are you zoning out for? It was Arthur. I looked up at him blankly. Let's go. I looked around the office. Everyone else had already left. I hadn't realized how long they had been in there together.
Today.
On the drive home, Arthur noticed I was completely checked out. He spoke with feigned casualness. Victor comes back tomorrow, so you don't have to come in anymore. He paused. Unless you still want to. No, I don't want to go back, I interrupted quickly. Suit yourself, Arthur said. He sounded almost disappointed. The next morning, I went to the hospital to visit Serena, who had managed to break her leg while partying too hard. I told her everything Fiona had shown me. That absolute trash bag. He plays the field but locks you up at home. Serena got so worked up she swung her cast-covered leg, causing herself a second wave of agony. All right, calm down before you break it again. I'll go get the doctor. As soon as I stepped out of her room, I saw two familiar figures, Arthur and Lily. Curiosity drove me to follow them. They walked into the pediatrics ward. When I saw a little girl run out of her room and throw her arms around Arthur's legs, I couldn't hear what they were saying, but they looked like a real family.
Warm.
Complete. It felt like a boulder had been dropped onto my chest, crushing the air out of my lungs. Falling in love with Arthur Vance was the one mistake I
could not afford to make.
When I got home, I deeply regretted my life choices. If I had known there would come a day when I'd have to leave him, I would have saved more money. I needed to sell all those designer bags and unworn clothes. Looking at my mountain of Birkins and Chanels, I stroked the leather tragically. Don't worry, my babies. Mommy will make enough money to buy you all back one day. As I packed, I thought back to why I even married Arthur in the first place. It was ridiculous, straight out of a cheesy soap opera. I had just graduated college and come home, only to find my house completely empty. Staring at the vacant 3-bedroom apartment, completely bewildered, I called my parents. I could hear ocean waves in the background of the call. Hey, sweetie. We went on vacation and forgot to tell you. As a fresh, naive grad, I couldn't comprehend their logic. You went on vacation, so you sold all the furniture? My mom's excuse was incredibly weak. We didn't want it gathering dust while we were gone. I rolled my eyes. What kind of psycho reasoning is that? Leah, you've graduated now. It's time to move into your husband's house. That news was a bolt from the blue. Just because I didn't have a job lined up yet, my parents married me off. Gotta go. The surf is up. We texted you the address.
Beep, beep, beep.
You still didn't need to sell the couch. At first, I thought my parents had ruthlessly sold me off to a wealthy, decrepit 80-year-old. But I had nowhere to sleep, so I followed the address, treating it like a gamble. Maybe I wouldn't ever have to look for a job again. Looking back, I definitely won that gamble. My husband was gorgeous, and Grandma Vance was an angel. The only problem was I let a purely financial transaction turn into real feelings. My phone rang, pulling me out of my memories.
It was.
Serena. Excuse me, Miss Vance, but did you forget you were supposed to get my doctor? I laughed awkwardly. I actually had completely forgotten. Take care of yourself, babe. I'm fleeing the state. Seeing Arthur's family at the hospital confirmed it. I was in love with him, but I didn't know how to face a man who had an entire second life outside of our marriage. I left a signed divorce agreement and a letter on the dining
Table.
I was heading to a quiet, middle-of-nowhere town.
The
Money I had saved was enough to last me a lifetime. I was standing in line at the airport gate when the intercom crackled to life. Paging passenger Leah Vance. Mr. Arthur Vance is looking
for you.
Passenger Leah Vance. Arthur Vance is looking for
You.
How did Arthur find me so fast? Was he coming to demand his allowance money back? No way. I had to run. I dashed toward the boarding gate, but a hand clamped onto the back of my collar. I was yanked backward, out of the line. It was Arthur. What are you doing? I'm missing my flight. Leah Vance. I looked up and saw his eyes were bloodshot. It was obvious he had been crying. Why do you want a divorce? This cheating scumbag. He has the nerve to ask me why? He has a kid with Lily Crawford and refuses to give her a
ring.
Didn't you read the letter? He looked at me furiously. What kind of insane reason is clearing the runway for the true Madame Vance? You absolute trash. You have a child with someone else. And you're keeping her a secret? Give her the title she deserves while the kid is still young. Arthur looked at me in total bewilderment. What the hell are you talking about? I patted his shoulder sagely. Arthur, treat her right. He suddenly burst out laughing. Leah, what goes on in that head of yours? Was I wrong? Don't you and Lily Crawford have a kid together? He looked down, smiling to himself, then pulled out his phone and swiped to a photo. Look. It was a photo of a couple hugging. The man was in a military uniform, and the woman was Lily Crawford.
Who is this?
He pointed to the man in the photo. This is Luke Crawford, my best friend. Lily is his wife. He was an Army Ranger.
He was killed in action during a
counterterrorism op. They had just gotten married shortly before he deployed. After he died, Lily found out she was pregnant. She fought so hard to raise Mia on her own. Everything was fine, but a few months ago, Mia was diagnosed with leukemia. Lily was at the end of her rope, so she came to me for help. He put his phone away. Luke was my brother. I couldn't just sit back and watch his family suffer. I got Mia into the best hospital with the best specialists. A month ago, her condition took a sudden turn for the worse, which is why Lily was coming to see me so often. I asked frantically, "How is Mia doing now?" "She's stabilized. We're flying her to Europe next month for a specialized trial treatment." Hearing she was stable, I let out a massive sigh of relief.
He stared intently at me.
I've explained everything.
So, no.
Divorce? You're not leaving? He had a death grip on the handle of my suitcase, terrified. I was going to bolt. All right, step aside. It's time to play hard to get. I'll think about it. I shoved the suitcase into his chest and strutted away, turning back to add, I said think about it. Once Arthur's brain caught up, he grabbed my pink suitcase and chased after me through the terminal, yelling, "Wife." That was the moment I finally knew Arthur loved me too. Once we got home, Arthur's cold, distant billionaire persona completely crumbled. He became a giant, clingy golden retriever. He couldn't bear to be apart from me and even dragged me along on all his business trips. One time, the male models from the club texted me asking why I hadn't visited them in so long. Arthur saw the text. I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. I liked looking at hot guys, sure, but I was always faithful.
I
had no idea Arthur was hiding so much stamina and creativity. And it wasn't until much later that I found out the truth about the day he brought his mistress home. It wasn't a mistress. It was Victor. Victor was a transgender man. When the housekeeper heard Arthur was bringing Victor home, she either misheard the name or assumed a new, pretty face meant a mistress. As for the night he got drunk and mumbled Lily, he was slurring my name Leah. Later, before Mia flew to Europe for her treatment, I went to the hospital to see her. Wow, you're so pretty. No wonder Uncle Arthur always brags about his beautiful wife to me. Hearing Mia say that, I realized Arthur had been in love with me for a long time. He was just too stubborn to show
it.
Leah, I saw you at the office last time, but didn't want to interrupt your work. I'm sorry, we're only formally meeting now. Lily came back into the room with a pitcher of water.
She
looked incredibly guilty. Arthur told me you misunderstood our relationship and almost divorced him. I am so sorry. That idiot Arthur. He told her everything? Did he not care about my dignity at all? I waved it off with a cheerful laugh. It's fine, it's fine. If it weren't for you, he'd probably still be hiding his feelings from me. I gently pinched Mia's cheek. Mia is so sweet. I'm so glad I got to meet her. After playing with Mia for a while, Arthur came to pick me
up.
How did it go with Mia? She's adorable. It makes me want a little peanut just like her. Well, let's head home, and I'll put in some overtime. We'll get you those twins in no time. Just as Arthur had me pinned against the headboard, ready to strike, I looked up at him. Why did you fall in love with me? He forced himself to pause, his voice gravelly. Because of
destiny.
And then, his kisses rained down on me, heavy and endless. Arthur's POV. The reason I married my wife is very simple. When I witnessed my parents die in a horrific car crash, she was the stranger who rushed over and covered my eyes from behind. Don't look. They wouldn't want you to see them like this. And they wouldn't want this memory to ruin the rest of your life. She stayed with me for a long time, helping me survive the darkest period of my life. But once I finally pulled myself together, she was gone. I couldn't find her. When I turned 26, Grandma told me the girl she had arranged for me to marry had graduated, and it was time for the wedding. My heart belonged to the girl from my past. I refused, until Grandma showed me photos of my fiancé growing
up.
That's when I realized how miraculous destiny could be. The woman I was being forced to marry was her. It had always been her. But after we got married, I realized she had completely forgotten me. We had no romantic foundation, so I didn't dare confess my feelings. I was terrified of scaring her away. I traveled for work constantly, often for long periods. But one day, I came back early because I missed her desperately. Victor said there was an urgent document I needed to sign, so I told Martha to let Victor in. Oddly, the moment my wife heard Victor was coming, she left the house. I assumed she just didn't want to interrupt my work, so I decided to wait for her to come home. But by 11 p.m., she still wasn't back. I started to panic. Did she not want me anymore? I called her, but she actually said I was interrupting her fun. She blabbered a bunch of nonsense and hung up on me. I decided to hide the diamond bracelet I bought her and talk to her properly the next day. It was definitely not because I was throwing a jealous tantrum over her not coming home. Later, I took her to a gala. I just wanted to spend more time with her, but she ended up getting bullied. I didn't expect it to be Fiona Sterling.
I decided right then
and there to sever all corporate ties with the Sterlings. I didn't care if we grew up in the same circles. No one bullies my wife. But when I saw the notification on her phone, the sky fell. Why was my wife looking for male models? She claimed she only did it because she missed me too
much. Well,
whatever my wife says, I believe. I decided I needed to spend more time with her. I forced her to come to work with me every day. On her first day, she showed up with no makeup.
She
looked so innocent and beautiful. I loved it. But then she brought me black coffee, black as tar. I hate black coffee, without sugar. Was she trying to warn me not to be seduced by bitter, fake people? I knew it. My wife cared about me. Because of Mia's deteriorating health, Lily came to see me.
Frequently.
I was so distracted, I didn't realize my wife was getting angry. Once I finally sorted out Mia's hospital transfer, I rushed home to be with my wife. I just wanted to hold her and recharge. But when I opened the door, my world collapsed again. My wife wanted a divorce. She was running away. Thank God I caught her at the airport. I was overjoyed. It turned out my wife had been in love with me for a while. She mistakenly thought I had a secret child, thought I was a cheating scumbag, and that's why she ran. My wife's self-preservation instincts were top tier. But I'm not a scumbag. I'm just a man hopelessly obsessed with his wife. Come here, wife. Let me hug you.